This episode will discuss childhood sexual abuse, so viewer discretion is advised. Olga is our guest, and she is sharing her story of childhood sexual abuse, as well as a powerful message of healing and hope. Hello, my name is Jennifer, and my special guest today is Olga. We are speaking today about trauma and how we learn to heal, the healing process from having trauma. And Olga is our guest today to share her story. Olga, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, thank you for having me today. I always enjoy talking, so this is great. That's one thing about me. So I am originally from Colombia, and I lived there for 30 years, and I've been some years in the U.S. I am the oldest of three children. All of them are in Colombia, all my siblings and my parents. But my extended family is like really extended. So we come from very large families. I was born in a small town on the west side of Colombia on the Pacific Ocean, not by the ocean, but like a little more inland. And then we moved to Medellin. So there's some story there or history there with all the social problems that Medellin used to have and still have some of them. But growing up there was amazing, and I wouldn't change it for anything. I went to school there, university. I became a dietitian, and then I got married. And when I was 30, my husband decided that he really wanted to come to the US. So we moved here, and I have been working in the maternal and infant health field for the last 16, 17 years. And that's my passion, and it's been since I started going to school to become a dietitian. So my passion is moms, babies, and anything related. And I think I got that from my grandmother, who dedicated her life to doing things for babies, newborns, embroidering and sewing, and that was her passion. And she had 14 babies, so there was some passion there for babies. And then a lot of things that I've done in between related to horses and dancing and all kind of cool things that life has put in front of me, and I am one that can't say no. So there's a lot of history there, but that's me. So I speak Spanish and English with a little bit of an accent. um, but yeah, it's been a long, I think it's been a long, deeply lived life. And it divides in chapters where all the childhood and the youth, and then getting married and then moving to a different country with different language, different system, different culture.
Yeah.
And then adapting to a lot of things, and getting where we are here now.
Well, I'm lucky enough to have Olga as a friend, and I've seen how special and beautiful her light is, and how she loves to serve others and help, and she's got such a big, compassionate heart. So I'm so happy to have you sitting across from me and telling your story. And I love that I've heard your story, and I love that others get to hear it now too, because you are very inspiring.
No, you're so sweet.
So you have a quote that I asked you to choose a quote to start off this
Yes,
podcast.
I have to read it because I
Okay.
can't. My memory is not that good.
No
But it is from Maya Angelou. And she says, I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it.
I love that. That is really powerful, and that's exactly sums up you.
Oh, I felt like it was, I could identify with it. And
Yeah.
so it was powerful.
So tell us a little bit about your personal story and your struggles, and what you experienced with trauma.
Okay. I think this is the first time I'm talking about it. No, it's okay. It's been a lifetime of a healing process. So it's good. I have my water here.
Yeah.
If my mouth is starting to dry.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was born. I was the first child of my parents, and they. Well, we had a large family, but they had to move to Medellin really soon. It actually before I was born, like a couple of years before I was born, they were already in Medellin, and their support system at that time was a family that was friends with my grandfather before they have to move to another side of the country because of the politic violence at that time, 40s, 1940s, something like that. And so there were some friends. My dad moved with my mom because he was going to school, to university. And so I grew up with a very close relationship with this family. And so I have like I grew up having three families: my paternal family, my maternal family, and this adoptive family in a way. Adoptive because that was it. That was all we had, a support system there. And when things are going to happen, they usually happen with people that are close to the family, family members or friends that are close. And so there were friends and people who were taking care of me because you have to rely on people and taking care of your child to go do things, and you trust everyone who's family or a close friend or
Right. You trust that everyone has the same best interest for your children.
Exactly. And when are you going to imagine that someone is going to do something against you or your child or your family? It's just unthinkable.
Yeah.
So that started happening when I was, I think, 4 to 6. I don't know. Well, every time I do some kind of therapy and I try to go back and see where my memories start, it's kind of fuzzy. So 4 to 6, I was very little. And so I started being molested at that time. And it continued for too many years. I mean, too many. I don't even know how to describe that, because it was always like, what the question is always like, why? And especially because it was not just one person; it was several people. So, until I was about 10, so it's about 6 to 8 years, years of that. So nobody knew because, of course, they manipulate you to not tell and hide that, and then it just becomes very confusing. And so that happened during that time. But when you're going through it, you really are so confused. I was so confused. I really didn't realize what was happening,
Right.
even though I knew not to tell. That was very clear, and I knew that wasn't right. Then I went into my teenage, and there was a moment where one of those people tried to come back into my life, and I was a little older, maybe 13, 14, and tried to get me to, I don't know, be close to him, or like he was trying to tell me that because of what I let him do, kind of I belonged to him. So it was like coming back to emotionally, because he was living in a different city, so he couldn't really get to me. But it was like coming back. I was like, why? Like, but I don't know what was in me. I was very religious at that time, and I don't know. I think I found some strength in that spirituality. My family's Catholic, and I grew up Catholic and went to Catholic school. And I think I found some strength there, and somehow I got rid of him. Like he started threatening that he was going to tell his mom that the kind of woman I was, the kind of woman I was. And I was like, you know what? Go ahead and tell her. And then one time he was going to kill himself. I'm like, go ahead. And that would be great. Actually, you free the world from your presence.
Right.
In a way, I was hungry, because it's like, why is this coming back to me?
He was trying to manipulate you.
Trying, exactly. So I was like, you know what? If you don't do it, I'm going to do it. But go ahead and do it, and go ahead and kill you. But don't contact me again, because if you do it, I am going to seriously tell everybody.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell anyone, because I don't even know if I felt ashamed or anything. It was just not there. I was angry, but I wasn't aware of my feelings or what was left of that. So I didn't tell anyone, even at that point.
Did you feel like you needed to protect others from maybe?
I don't know, because I was so young. I laugh now when I remember, him telling me that I was his woman, or I was the kind of woman I was. Like, I was 13, 14, like I was a child. That just makes no sense. And I never tried to make sense of it. I always thought, this is just a crazy person.
Right.
I don't know. There's something that always protects you in some way. You're not totally, absolutely vulnerable, and yes, you are, and a lot of things happen to you. But there's always that thing inside of you that, it makes you kick or scream or do something that's kind of defending you in some capacity. Maybe not the full capacity that you would need to get rid of what's happening to you, but at least you feel you're doing something.
Right.
So it was a combination of, I don't understand everything that's happening, but this is not supposed to happen, and I'm not comfortable sharing it, and I'm not going to share it. But I always carried it with me. And I remember that because I was so religious, then I started going to church and praying, and actually trying to confess, like going to confession and trying to, like, I don't know, find some kind of answers there. But it wasn't too much, because I don't think I was totally aware and conscious about what was happening or what happened to me. It was only until I was 17 when I started the relationship with who became my husband later. And one day after it, we were both Catholic. So one day we were talking about it, about, sexuality and what our experiences have been so far. And I started talking about it. I felt safe enough to talk about it. And that's one thing I save in my heart, because I feel he was a safe place for me to talk about it. So I started talking about that experience, and he's looking at me like he couldn't believe what I was saying. And he let me finish. And when I finished, I felt like a little shame, because I felt like my feeling was like my sexuality started way early than everybody. So because of the guilt they put in your head, and sexuality is so bad, and you started so early, and now you're ahead of the game, and I'm a woman, I'm supposed to be so perfect, and I'm not. But he didn't make me feel any of that. He was okay. Well, he was okay opening the space for me to talk. But at the end, he's like, do you realize that what you're telling me is abuse? And that was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, I guess that is abuse. And that opened my eyes in a way that, okay, now maybe that's one answer I needed to start seeking what I really needed to start healing. And I remember that. I think that was the first time I cried about it because I didn't even knew enough to cry about it. And then that started my path into the healing process. I was very into psychology. I wanted to go to school to be a psychologist. Life just, takes different paths, but I ended up in the health field, but more like the biological, physical health instead of the mental health. But I always have had a passion for humans and our hearts and our processes in life, and so I started seeking therapy, and both therapy and spirituality, like a spiritual guide that could walk me through what I needed to do. Like I knew I needed to do something because that was gonna I started identifying what was left in me that was going to keep me from building a healthy relationship in many ways. Not just the sexuality part of it or the sexual part of the relationship, but also affection and all other things that were left there, and I wasn't aware of it. So I was like, oh, I better get doing this because I want this relationship to work. And so it was a process of understanding it, looking for the right person to do it. And I discovered that there's no one person. There's many people in your life from the beginning that give you one piece of advice, one piece of reflection from what you're saying, of a different way to see what is happening. And every single person, the priest, the psychologist, the therapist, you name it, they all gave me, my boyfriend at that time, the people started opening up. I tried opening up to my parents when I spoke with him and realized that had happened. I think it took me a year to talk to my parents. And I talked to them, but because they were still trusting the same people.
Right.
And I was, in a way, forced without knowing to see these people in, weekly basis or monthly basis. And maybe nothing was happening, but I knew it was inside. It was like, I know what you did.
Yeah.
I know what you did. So I was interested in them knowing about one, that I didn't want them to leave my siblings with them. And so I told them, do not take them to this house because something is going to happen. So that broke my mom's heart. Everybody's heart. It was really hard. But we never spoke about it anymore.
Yeah.
And I did not mention the other names because in a way I felt like I needed to protect them from that. I needed to not let them know their family or family and close friends were doing this and affecting someone they loved.
So you felt the need to protect your parents from and your family from those other names that abuse you.
Yeah.
Which I think is very common when it comes to abuse and when you're young and trying to protect your family and just taking it all on yourself. You mentioned you never spoke to your mom again about it. Do you ever feel like it's necessary for you?
I never did until I got divorced.
Okay.
So we, I started a process of getting help with, depressed. I was very active in youth groups and all kind of spiritual things. I moved from one to the other with different philosophies and different styles, and always surrounded by music because that's the thing that moves my life uh, deeply. And so I was playing the guitar and I like to sing, so I was always involved in the band and at school, and then in the youth groups, and so I was always participating on all ceremonies, and preparing all the music for everything. And I think that brought some level of joy, and I don't know, music just brings something else
It's
to your
so
life.
healing.
Yes, it just connects with your heart in a way that makes you feel hope, and that it is possible to build a life with everything you're experiencing. It doesn't matter. It's like you're just going through life
Yeah.
with music, and going, and processing things that happen to you, and making decisions, and taking opportunities, and trying to achieve your goals and your dreams. um, yeah, it was like, okay, yeah, that happened to me, but I'm going to go to school, but I'm going to go to university, and I'm making decisions, and I have a relationship. And it was at that time my safe space. Um, so we got married. I was 23, and it was great. And I was very happy for a long time. Then he shared that his dream has been always to move to the United States. And I was like, okay, well, sounds like a fun thing. Like I mentioned before, I never said no to anything. I always feel like, if it's presented to you for some reason, that's your next step. And I never took it as, oh, he's, taking advantage of me, or taking me from my place in the world and moving me to somewhere else where I am going to be powerless. No, I just never thought of that. Like, I was always thinking that whatever is ahead is an opportunity to do something, learn something, become something. Um, why not? That's fun. I think from the beginning, I was like, yeah, let's do that. So I was supportive of the idea, and then we achieved the goal back in 2003, and we moved here in 2003. And then we build a business and a life, and I learned the language. He knew a little more before we moved. I knew a little bit, but not like fluent. I didn't
Right.
speak it fluently. So I had to go to school, and then as I was going to school, then I found belly dance. I was like, okay. But I'll tell you the story about belly dance in the healing process there in a minute. Um, and so one day I figured out that safe space and what we were building together stopped at some point somewhere, and we were not there anymore. I wasn't, and I didn't feel like he was, even though the other person always feels like he was. But I didn't feel like that anymore, and so it kind of just fell apart at some point, and I left. When I made that decision, I knew that there were parts of me that were not firm. Like I think that they were, how to put it? I don't want to say that I was broken, because that's like a strong definition of a human being. We are so complex and have so many parts that what part is broken? Like, I think I had a very strong foundation in some areas, and then some other areas were built on top of things that were not that firm. So those things just started falling apart, and then everything built on top of it, boop, boop,
Yeah.
fell apart. And I was like, okay, I have to go back to my essence and see where I am at and what I need and how I'm going to build myself from now on. And I was in a foreign country with a different culture. I have family that lives in the US, but not here. And so I was by myself with, I had a cousin that was living with me, but she was young. So it was almost like having a child and doing all this process. And so we got divorced, and I moved out. No, I moved out, and then we got divorced, and then annulment, and it was years of figuring out who I was, what I was doing, what was important to me, what was my essence, and here I am today. It's still 14, 15 years after that, and still going on that process. Who am I? What I want to be? Who I want to be? And how I want to experience my life every day. I've never had a tendency to be depressed, or I don't even know if I was depressed. Of course, I had sadness, deep sadness, many times, but I never lost hope. There was like at the bottom of my heart, I knew there was something ahead.
Where did you find this courage, you think?
I have no idea. I think it's in you. I think everybody has it. It's covered with so many things that we put on top of it, and then kind of digging it out is what things help
Yeah.
you. Like my brain goes so in so many directions.
I feel like after my experiences, my trauma experiences, that I feel like the fighter in me, the survivor in me came up a majority of the time. Not always, but it did get me through rough times.
Yeah, I think you learn that you can live with that, because for how long do you fake it until you make it in a way? Because it's there, something happened, but you're still allowing yourself to go to school, have normal interactions with people, with your family. I was, being a normal teenager with friends, going out, going to movies, involved with the band, involved with the people that were volunteering, to do things out in the communities. And I was giving, I was learning, I was building something. I went to school to become a teacher. I had like dual program in high school. So when I graduated from high school, I was an elementary school teacher. And it was like, I am pursuing the things that I like, I'm passionate about. Probably my trauma was limiting some of the full expression of that passion, or going fully into something, or changing the way I would interact with things or people, or trying to build a relationship that was meaningful. Because then we go to the other side of things that trauma gives you. And because it's sexual trauma, then it kind of messes up with your self-image, self-esteem, how people perceive you, the values that are important to you in that matter, like beauty. And I'm Latin, so beauty is a value that is, I think, is overvalued. And there's pressure, there is stress, like you. And back, I grew up, that time was like 80s and 90s. The pressure wasn't, I graduated from high school in 89, so there was some pressure, but not like it developed in the 90s. The 90s just exploded like surgeries, and you have to have the perfect body and the perfect hair. And so it was this mix of, I always felt like I was beautiful. Like I never had, or I didn't have a lot of that self-doubt on, am I beautiful? I felt beautiful. My questions or my struggles were with, I need to kind of lower that beauty or cover that beauty a little bit, because then I'm going to cause, with now, people, it was both ways. It was, or perceived in a way by men that I am available and this is going to happen again. Or to women, I'm a threat because I'm so beautiful that I am going to take your boyfriend or husband or whatever. So there's this internal fight constantly of, I can be beautiful, but I need to be less beautiful because it might provoke different things in people around me. And maybe people don't tell you, like, you're too beautiful, don't be that beautiful. But of course, you're the one that did it out. So phrases that you're like, oh, almost like you feel like you have to apologize for the way you look or for the way you're perceived, or
it's your responsibility.
Yeah, like I have to manage everybody's fears and insecurities and all of that. And so in a way that made me be a little more, it's like insecure in some areas, but also secure in some areas. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to lower it. Even though in some ways I did lower it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that, because that is going to.
I understand. I identify with that a lot. And you end up dumbing yourself down, or, not being out in the forefront in order to feel that protection.
Yeah. And there are things that you can't help, like small things. I mean, in life, since I started developing, I have big boobs. And so it was like, I can't hide them. How do you hide them? But you start hiding them, wearing things that are, big, and then they're not that noticeable. But at the end of the day, they are noticeable. It's like, okay. And then there's no way to wear things that skinny people wear and not seem like you're trying to show, but they're just there. Like, you can't really do anything about it. So at some point I was like, you know what? I can't help it. They're what they are. And I look the way I look, and I'm going to do it. So I changed the way I was dressing, and I'm like, I need to feel beautiful, and I need to feel that I own the space I'm occupying. And it's okay. And it's okay to wear this type of shirts and these types of pants, and, and do my hair this way, and maybe wear makeup this way.
Yes, with trauma, I can speak for myself, and it sounds the same for you and many others I spoke to, that there's some part of you that takes on that responsibility, and you really punish yourself in different ways.
Yeah. And then there was, like, every time someone had this sexual attraction, it was an internal conflict of shame. See, this is what you do. That's what you do. That's what you provoke. That's what you cause in these people's minds. And so you have to fix it. Like, you have to fix what other people do and behave like. And men feel entitled. It's like, your body shows this way, and that means you're available, and then I'm going to take it. And so feeling like you just have to defend yourself every time, or like you have to bring this aggressiveness from the inside so you can defend yourself and kick people out of your life, and or just keep them aside, like don't even try, or if you try, I'm not taking it.
Yeah.
I'm not. I have the right to say no, but many times they try to make me feel that I didn't have the right to say no, because I was the way I was. And the other side to this, and I started working on this really early in the process with the psychologist, he made me realize that what really happened to me was that my sexuality was awakened too early, or earlier than normal development, the natural development. And so that caused my sexuality to be very awakened, and it became something throughout life that was very important in my relationships. But a woman that's very sexual, that owns her sexuality and wants to live it and wants to express it, that's another whole world. It's like if you are in the Catholic world, fortunately, the spirituality that I lived at during those years was not as conservative, and so it was liberating in some ways, even though it still had some judgment about sexuality and some rules, very strict rules, and almost like also in that way you need to control it. You need to, no, not show it so much, because you need to show that you're a decent woman. If you have a lot of desire, or you want to try this, or you want to try that, where did you learn that? And why are you talking about that? Maybe you have more experience than what you're showing. And it can't be curiosity. It can't be, I heard it and I want to try it. Or why not? Yes, I tried it, but I want to try it with you. Like, experience. Then I learned that experience in men is like something that's a value. And then experience in women, you're just okay. So it's like, really? So I was double that, because I felt my sexuality really there, like very present. So it was so confusing. It was so confusing. And so the process after when I got married, and my process with my ex-husband was really, really nice, because he helped me explore a lot of things and made me feel comfortable talking about the things I desired, and safe. He was definitely a safe space for me, and I that's why I'm grateful for that relationship. And even though it ended, I think it had a huge role. And I will always say my life would have been very different if I didn't have that relationship at the time when it showed up in my life.
Do you think, is there anything you would have changed in your healing process, looking back? And do you have advice for others on their healing journey?
I can't think of a thing. I can't think of something to change, because through the years, I discovered that you're not ready for all the truth that you're carrying. Every step of the way, every person, every therapy, every retreat, spiritual retreat, every prayer, everything, every relationship has brought light to things that were in there and that needed to be brought up, embraced, loved, looked with compassion. And it's just learning to sit with it. It's uncomfortable, it's painful. Sometimes I did self-therapy. I do a lot of that. But I did sit down many times and told myself the story again and again with detail, sometimes in a kind of a obsessive way. But I felt like I need to try to remember everything and feel it. Like I need to feel now when I look back and I see my 4-year-old self or my 8-year-old self going through what I was going through in my normal life, going to school. I was a very smart girl. I started kindergarten when I was 4. Um, and my parents were like, "Oh, just let her see there. And we'll do kindergarten next year again." And the teacher was like, "She's doing everything. I can't put her back in kindergarten." So I graduated from high school when I was 16. So I was living my normal life, but at the same time, going through all of that. So I don't think I would put the trauma again there. Like if I could go back and take it, maybe it would be a whole different life. I know, but who wants trauma? No, no, no one wants to go through anything. But life has different traumatic events. Like that's my the big one, the childhood trauma that caused this lifetime healing process that um, it's still here, and I'm really thankful for everything. I'm still going there. Every time I have a relationship, you learn your behavior, where your behavior is coming, or the instant reactions, where they're coming from, why you react so quick to certain things because you're trying to defend or prevent things from happening, or you can fully recover and own your sexuality, but there's a piece of you that takes you back in seconds. It's like a flash that comes back and you're like, I can't do that. So you have like heart limits, where I have heart limits. There are things that I can't do. But I have found partners throughout these years that have been so loving, compassionate, and respectful of those boundaries, where I say, if we get here, I'm going to have a reaction. So one, have like embrace my reaction without having to fix it. You don't have to fix it. That's something I learned from the beginning. Telling my partners, my ex-husband, my partners from there, you don't have to fix me. You can feel bad for me, yes, because that's your feeling, because we don't want our loved ones to go through hardship. And I understand the pain, and that's why with my parents, when I got divorced and they were very conservative, trying to get me to go back. Why are you by yourself? It's harder by yourself. But I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna go back, because I am ready for what's next, for my
You're
healing.
taking control.
I had to go back and tell them. Remember that I told you when I was 18. And I had an aunt that was key in that process too, because she was like, stop telling her that. Remember that she had this trauma and she still needs to heal to be able to build something that she's going to feel safe and secure. And she needs this.
So happy you had that aunt.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, every step of the way, I had something happening, a situation, an opportunity, something that really made that next step and the next step and the next thing I was getting ready to discover. And I didn't know that. And that's how I felt like when I started belly dancing. It was back in 2004, and I was going to school for English. And so they kicked me out of English. It's like, you're bilingual now. I'm like, I'm not. I need to stay here. It's like, well, we don't have any more levels for you. I'm like, okay, I'll just join the belly dance class.
So what I've always tell others about dance and music, I'm sure is the same. I don't play any instruments, but language is so limiting. And sometimes it's hard to express things if we have to put words to what they are. So having dance, being able to move to those emotions, is so healing.
Yeah, even singing in the bathroom in the shower.
I mean, it's a
When
beautiful
you're
voice. Oh my
singing in
God.
the car, I used
It's
to sing
healing
in the
for us
car.
to listen to.
Oh, you're so sweet. But also, I wanted to mention that finding teachers like you, for example, you have been a huge part of my healing process because the love, the acceptance, the openness, and the love that you transmit when you are teaching, it's impossible not to love myself. Like it's like you are the perfect mirror, more than the mirrors in the studio.
Yeah.
You are the perfect mirror for the reflection of the real person that's dancing, and that is priceless. So I will
Thank
be
you so
forever thank you, and I'm gonna cry. I will forever love you, and it's been a huge part, and it's been more than like 12 years, I think now.
Yeah. Oh my
um
goodness. Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy, but I love it because it's been a path of friendship, and it's community, it's so many things,
So
therapy,
important.
healing, all of
Community,
the
I
above.
feel so important. What do you recommend someone listening to your story and maybe feels, um, resonates with it and wants some advice on where can they find this healing? What do you recommend?
Okay, so for the first step is embrace yourself wherever you are in the process, because there's no one answer for a healing process. Like there's not one type of trauma. There, there's so many things that can be traumatic to people that may not be traumatic to other people. They survive and they keep on going. But what's traumatic to you? It is traumatic. It's You're not overreacting or anything. Embrace that trauma, not to accept that what the other person did was right, but to accept that you went through it and it has some consequences in you, but do it with compassion because you had no control over what was happening. And then if you embrace yourself, I think you can make the first step. And the first step may be telling a friend, or I don't know, looking for the type of spirituality that would fulfill that need for something that can fill your heart. I think spirituality is that seeking seeking love and compassion and acceptance, and mainly in your heart for yourself and the others. And so spirituality was a big part of it, has been, and it still is part of my healing process. Don't expect it to be one time. You don't heal, you sit in a therapy session and that's going to fix it. Not even a whole year of therapy is going to fix it, because there's really nothing to fix. I don't think again, I don't like that broken. You're not broken. You are arising from the ashes of something that happened, and want to make you feel like you were destroyed, but you weren't. At the end of the day, your essence is untouchable. No matter what happens, no how many ashes are outside,
100%.
underneath is your essence,
Yeah.
and it's still there. And if it's still there, you're going to make it. You're going to be you, no matter what, no matter who wants you to not be, or diminish what you are, or make you feel uncomfortable or inappropriate or inadequate. Mm-mm. You're going to rise. You can't avoid it because it's you. You were born for that, and nobody else was born to be you.
I
So
love that.
you are beautiful. You are a mix of things that are happy and that are joyful and sad and traumatic, embrace the mix of it and give that first step, whatever that means. It'll come to you. Trust your intuition. You may need therapy. The therapists are great at, maybe deciphering some things that you can on your own. And I do absolutely recommend it. You don't need a lifetime of therapy. You may need coming back, because the goal is to at the end become your own therapist. You get the practice of looking at your life in a certain way, making decisions in this way, being compassionate, writing. Writing helps a lot. Journaling. I'm not very consistent with journaling, but when I need it, I write it down, and it just feels real. Like it becomes something that your brain is processing differently because you're reading it. So write, journal. And if you want to write obsessively about your trauma and what happened to you, do it and experience it. My therapist at the beginning of this process, I was in my 20s, he said, remember that you're here, you're in the different place, time of life, and you're looking back. So you're never there again. Never. No matter how many times you think about what happened to you, you're never there. You are here. So now you're looking at things from a different perspective. So get to know who you are now so that you know what person is looking at that child that went through trauma. And I did the mental exercise of going back and hugging the 4-year-old, 6-year-old, 10-year-old, 14, 15, 20-year-old me that was confused and hurt and didn't know what was going to happen. But I still had the hope and the support system, because my family played also a big role in the healing process without knowing, just because they were loving and accepting and created a safe environment, even though they made mistakes, because everybody does. But maybe looking at things, people, experiences also as part of your healing process, so that you don't feel like you are not able to achieve this one thing. Now here in the US, therapy is a little more accessible than it was before. So taking advantages of programs that are out there for mental health, that's great. But also, grab on to those things that you like: music, dancing, writing, painting. I mean, I wish I could do more art, but I'll stick to music. And I've painted some things, and you surprise yourself when you challenge yourself to, let's see, my body will express something on a canvas. So don't limit yourself. Go for it. Go for it. Don't say no. Just go for it. If life is putting it in front of you, a person, a situation, an opportunity, take it. There is healing in that, and you'll be surprised.
We talked before we started recording today that healing is a practice. It's an everyday practice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes more practice than other times.
Yeah, because it comes and goes, and it's like waves of, as you get older, maybe in my experience, it doesn't come as often, like the big wave of, oh my God, this happened to me. Why these people, like, if you hang on to that, then you kind of relieve everything. But it lost importance for me. I don't even want to talk about them, because it's like they're not important. They're not part of my story.
Right.
They're part of theirs. Right. And whatever they did with their lives and with their sickness, that's another story. My story is, I was a child that was also experiencing this other life, this whole life, and that happened. And it's been a process of realizing what happened, what was left, and living every day is the combination of everything together. You never you are you with your story, and you carry it with you, and it transforms you, but you also transform it, the way you look at it, the way you make, or you are aware of the fact that you're not there anymore, that you were that, and you were there, but you're not experiencing it now. You're remembering it, and the way you remember it, also create rituals for yourself that will help you let go. um, Let yourself cry. Like I do let myself have those days where I'm in bed, I'm crying, I don't want to get up, or I get up but I only want to like eat and go. I just go from bed to the couch, and it's okay. I'm just not going to stay there, but it's okay to do it. I'm going to light a candle, maybe play a song, or put some music, or do some meditation if it helps, or a prayer, or invoke my ancestors. And I have a very close relationship with my grandmother. I had a close relationship with my grandmother. And very late she learned about my traumas, but she really never talked about it. She just loved me. It was like this constant reassurance that you're such a beautiful girl. You're so beautiful. Even the last day before she, she went into that state of unconsciousness before you die, she looked at me and just like went like that with her fingers on my face and said, "You're so beautiful, and I love you so much." It was just stuck in my mind.
Isn't
So
that what we need?
yeah, take it. I
Just
don't
to be
know.
loved
Yes,
and
yeah.
reassured that it's unconditional.
And I know that there are so many people that don't have that. That maybe they're by themselves. Be your own grandmother. Be your own mother. Be your therapist. Be the person that brings compassion and love into your life, into your heart, and look at yourself the way they would look at yourself. I heard many times, my best friend through life is a priest, and one day he told me, "I wish you saw yourself the way I see you, because I love you the way you are, and Jesus loves you the way you are. God loves you the way you are." And I was like, hmm. So now, then I became very curious about how people perceived me, because like, okay, if they perceive me that way, can I see myself that way? That was another thing that was a constant in life, because I surround myself with people that are able to express things, and like you and many other people around me, they're able to express things, and we give that to each other. And all of it is also linked to our biology. I'm a lactation consultant and a doula, and my life is surrounded by oxytocin. So I always tell people, at the end of the day, what our mission in life is to make people produce oxytocin. And oxytocin is produced by love. So I joined the belly dance class, and I discovered that music has been throughout my entire life part of that therapy. It was cheap. It was free. I was, playing the guitar, singing, having other people get together. I did it for church, and then I did it for fun, for other types of music. Um, and then I found belly dance. And it was so funny because I was more like challenged by it. And I am one of those that if I feel like I don't understand something, I need to understand it. Like I make it my project. Okay, I'm going to understand it and see if I really like it, and maybe I'll join it. Very foreign rhythms and instruments, and I was like, "What is that?" So I joined that, and I'm a good dancer. I mean, I dance salsa the way we learn, with our families. And since I was very little, I started dancing salsa, and I love dancing. And I did tango for some time. So I love dancing. So when I found belly dance, I was like, I love the dance, but I just don't understand the music. So I started the journey of understanding the music and the rhythm because it's very different. The counts are very different, and the instruments. It's like, what do I follow? I mean, salsa is also very rich rhythm, but these instruments were all very different. And I felt like I had two left feet. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to give myself a month. If by a month I don't understand this and I feel the same way and it's so frustrating, then this is it. And by a month, I was like, I'm not ready to quit. So I took some privates, and I became pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But in the process, I understood how my self image, how the thing that I had in the back of my mind about hiding my boobs or hiding my shape, my body shape, was there. And I couldn't express myself and I couldn't dance the way I needed to. And my teachers were like kind of confronting me in I know you have it in you. Like I can feel you have it in you, but you're not expressing it. Like your body, you're not allowing your body to move the way it needs to move. And it's a sensual dance. So it was crazy because I was challenging myself in so many ways. But then I felt like, this is at the end going to be therapeutic because I'm going to have to face all these things. I'm going to have to be able. And the one thing that I always remember, and I think I told you this before, it's opening my arms. My arms were always here, and if I had to open them, I will open them like a chicken. It was never extension because extension is opening my body to others. And I was like, I can't do that because people are going to feel offended by it. I may feel comfortable doing it. I feel comfortable being sensual and moving my body, but I don't want to offend people. And so I'm like, well, what? It makes no sense. Why am I protecting other people from me?
Right.
That makes no sense. So I started the process. And I'm like, I'm going to open up. And it was so awkward. Like when I started opening up my arms to be completely open and stretched out and wearing, the clothes that we wear for dancing. And one day it just all clicked and I was dancing. And I was feeling the music and I was expressing sensuality and then I learned you don't dance for others. You dance for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You dance because you have it inside,
yeah.
And your body is asking you for that rhythm, for that release of who you are. And so it's beautiful. It doesn't really matter how you move.
Mm-hmm.
It's that translation between what you have inside and how your body's moving, the connection and the ability to let it out.
Emotion to movement.
Exactly. Yeah. That was the best therapy I could have. Because very gently, I was one by one addressing each one of the things that were making me feel uncomfortable in my own skin, or that I owed something to other people, or that I had to cover my beauty or my rhythm or the life that was beating inside of me. And so dancing became a need. And now I'm going through some other stuff and I'm not dancing as much, but music is still part of my life. And I only stopped dancing last year. It's been up and down and it's gone through stages, but still here.
Olga, I absolutely adore you. I'm so happy that you sat down and shared your experience and you have a huge heart, an amazing mission in life. You inspire others. You help them through the toughest times. Being a doula.
Oh,
lactation consultant, helping women, inspiring women, you inspire me. And I know many others around us you've inspired. You're a talented person, a beautiful voice, and you play guitar. You dance. I'm so happy to know you. And your story, sharing your story with others is so important. And I've noticed this being in circles of women, it's when we share stories is when we learn. And people really identify and connect. And that healing can start for them. You inspire them to heal. And many times trauma makes people silent and afraid to talk because it's a sign of weakness or responsibility. And I hope that many will listen to this and be inspired to start healing process if they haven't yet, or just know that the healing process is a lifetime thing. It's continuous, and that it's okay that we're not 100% of who we would want to be. So thank you.
thank you. I love the opportunity, and you're so sweet. And your words are so sweet. So,
I would love to have you on again.
oh,
Yeah,
we,
we
I
have so
could,
much to talk about.
I could talk all day. You know me.
Thank you.